started taking it, I've been lifting like
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in, Steve Sparky Fifer here. Charlie Usen back there in the studio. We're here at Natty Oaks in West Allis. Come hang out with us right here on National Avenue, where National and Oklahoma meet. Josh Albrecht will be out here as well. If you want to come hang out with Josh Albrecht, watch the Crew play game number 3 coming up this afternoon. We have our Euchre Magic shirts are out here too. If you're interested in getting a Euchre Magic fan t-shirt, got all kinds of sizes for that. If you're a big Brewers fan, get your Euchre Magic shirt while you're here at Natty Oaks. Great food. I had a Philly cheesesteak sandwich that was amazing. French fries. They give you a chocolate chip cookie to go with it. So highly recommend coming out here, watching the game. Game time coming up just after 4 o'clock. We'll have the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook coming up at 3 o'clock with our guy Tommy Wirtz, the big old hunk of love. He'll be out here from 3 until 4 o'clock today. He'll get you the starting lineups, which we'll also talk about here in the first segment. But also we'll hear from Pat Murphy. We'll hear from everybody talking down there at Wrigley Field ahead of game number 1. Looking forward to that from 3 to 4, and then 4 to 5. We'll continue on. We're going to have John Greenberg on from the Milwaukee Admirals in the 4 o'clock hour. Plus, we'll talk some Wisconsin Badger football. Effort and Jake Kokorowski to come on there. We'll hear from Matt LaFleur in the 4 o'clock hour. So, full show coming up today from 2 until 5. With that being said, let's start talking about the Milwaukee Brewers, if you don't mind, as we broadcast live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, again, out here at Natty Oaks. So Tommy and I already, I've angry texted Tommy several times already, and we just got to 2 o'clock. Like,
well, why'd you angry text him? You don't like the lineup or something? What's wrong?
I hate the lineup.
I knew it.
And then I took the lineup around the bar, and I was showing other people. I can't find one person that likes the lineup that's here at Natty Oaks that thinks this is a good lineup for the Milwaukee Brewers today. Before everybody saw the lineup, I think there was a lot of confidence that this Brewers team was going to get the job done, that they were going to win this thing in 3. You like the pitching matchup today with Priester on the mound for the Crew. Jamison Tyon pitched well in his last postseason game, but he's kind of hit or miss. I mean, Charlie Usen, Chicago Charlie, he'll tell you the same thing. He's a Cubs fan. He is a guy that could be really, really on, or he could be exiting stage left by the third inning. Right, Charlie? Is that a good synopsis of kind of what this guy is?
Yeah.
He gave up 4 or 5 runs quickly, just like he could maybe shut you down for 5 or 6 innings.
Kind of like the off-brand Freddie Peralta, it feels like sometimes, when Freddie Peralta before this season was exactly like that, where it felt like some games he was unhittable, and then he'd go on those 2 to 3 game stretches where he was the most hittable person in the league. Jameson Ty owns that, but on an even more extreme level. I think people hit him more often.
Look at Freddie Peralta. Freddie Peralta's grown up so much that people are comparing other pitchers to Freddie Peralta and calling somebody an off-brand Freddie Peralta. Like, has anybody ever used that term, off-brand Freddie Peralta?
I'm probably the first person. I'll coin it, trademark it, get it out over here. Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. I mean, if I'm Freddie Peralta, obviously he better not be listening. He better be at the game and not Wrigley, but I'd be pretty happy with that. Look at that, man. People are saying other pitchers, professional pitchers, are off-brand me. You're not saying it like about a 12-year-old that you saw. Hey, it kind of reminds me of off-brand Freddie Peralta. That's another grown man that's on the mound in a playoff game. So quickly, I simply want to know this from those of you that are listening. I'm going to ask you a simple question. After I read the lineup, okay, are you still as confident in the Brewers winning today's game after seeing what the Brewers are putting out there for a lineup today? I will read you the Brewers lineup for today's game. That starts after 4. And again, we have our Euchre Magic shirts out here. If you want to have a Euchre Magic t-shirt right here on the table, just tell us what size you have. Our guy, Jack Pembroke, is out here. He can help you get a Euchre Magic t-shirt on. You can wear it during the game, and they're very cool. People are loving them. Leading off, as designated hitter, is Christian Yelich. I will first start off by saying I don't like that part of the lineup. That's the first thing I don't like about the lineup is the leadoff hitter himself. He is simply, as I've said before, and people are like, oh, it's Bryce Trang. Fine. You want to say it's Bryce Trang, go right ahead. I'm telling you right now, if there's runners on base, currently, I want Christian Yelich at bat. You can give me anybody else in this lineup. I want Christian Yelich with a bat in his hand with runners on base, and we need a hit. I trust Christian Yelich at this point. I trust Christian Yelich if we need a home run at this point over anybody else in the lineup. I trust Christian Yelich if it's just a base hit we need, or if it's a double that we need. That Christian Yelich is the guy that I'm going to lean on. And you bat him in the leadoff spot. When he was batting the leadoff spot for an entire year, it was because he was a slap hitter and had no power. This dude should have hit 30 home runs this year. He had 29 home runs, over 100 RBIs. That is not a leadoff hitter, not in a playoff game at least. And it's one thing if you're batting him in the leadoff spot because of injuries or whatever the case may be of why you're putting him there. This, I don't like. So that's the first issue I have, Charlie. Do you have issue with our guy, Christian Yelich, in the leadoff spot?
Not really. They've been trying it. It's something that we should have expected at this point. At the end of the year, they were going with it and giving it a go. And I think right now, yes, I get what you're saying. You want Christian Yelich up to bat with people on base. But the difference is this Brewers team, no matter where you go through that lineup, people are going to get on base. Even the bottom 3 guys today where you have not exactly the greatest group of players in that bottom 3 compared to what you could have on the field, I still believe they can get on base and be dangerous on base and be dangerous for Christian Yelich. I also think that Christian Yelich can get the game going on a big start by hitting a leadoff home run, kind of like the Cubs have been able to do. But I trust the Brewers to use that momentum a lot more than the Cubs can.
I don't disagree with if the idea is to get a leadoff homer by Christian Yelich, that's a possibility. But you could also say that's a possibility with Jackson Chourio if you had Jackson Chourio in the leadoff spot, correct?
I guess so, yeah. And I guess you could also say it's a possibility with Bryce Trang after watching this season. Or you could say it's a possibility with a Sal Frelick if you wanted to put him there, even with a William Contreras. Yeah, you could say it's a possibility with a lot of the guys on this team. But that goes to my point before where if anybody can get on base, and I think anybody on this team can really hit for any power at any given game so far, what we've seen Caleb Durbin, Joey Ortiz have power spurts too. I mean, everybody on this squad can have those moments. So, no, I'm not as worried about it, even though, yes, a Jackson Chourio could fill in that leadoff spot for a Christian Yelich to be that power guy, or a Bryce Trang or anybody else. It's just nice to have a guy that's your leader be able to be the one to do that, and that's Christian Yelich.
Christian Yelich this year batting leadoff. Again, because what's going to happen is when we have this conversation, people are going to use minimal split numbers of why Andrew Vaughn isn't playing. So, batting the leadoff spot, Christian Yelich has 6 games, 24 at-bats. He is hitting .208 in the leadoff spot this year. He has 1 run, 5 hits, a double, no triples, no homers, 3 RBIs, no stolen bases, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, .345 on base, .250 slugging. in 6 games batting in the leadoff spot. So again, if we're going to give me the reason of, whoa, Andrew Vaughn's like 3 of 9 against Jamison Tyon, and that's why he's not in the lineup, then please, let's use even a bigger sample size of why Christian Yelich should be hitting in the damn 1 spot at this point. If we're gonna be consistent about this, then let's be all the way consistent about it. Then batting 2 is Jackson Chourio in this lineup. Now, do I have issue with Jackson Chourio batting 2? I don't care where you bat Jackson Chourio. To be honest with you, it really doesn't matter. But my issue is, where is he playing, Charlie? Where is he playing? He's not playing designated hitter. We know that. He's in left field.
He is playing in left field.
Right. So let me see if I got this right. So in game 1, he had issue. They said, off day, he's fine. Plays game 2. By the end of the game, they have to pull him and replace him because he fails the hamstring issue again. So now, day off, game 3, and we're going to tempt fate again. We're going to tempt fate again and see if magically it healed overnight of some miracle, and now he's going to be fine for the rest of the playoffs. Again, I understand the last time I did this, he hit a home run and everybody told me to shut up. Then when it came out the next day from Murphy that, oh, by the way, yeah, he was hurt again by the end of the game. All those people that told me to shut up, they disappeared off Twitter. They were no longer to be found. They were gone. So now here we are in game 3. I will say it again, like I said it before. If he hurts that hamstring worse and he's out for the rest of this series and possibly the next series, I am going to be out of control angry, Charlie. I'm telling you now, out of control angry.
Or he could go into this game and hit another monster home run that could be another big turning point for this series.
Let me explain something to you.
With a little bit of tightness at the end of the game again and be fine.
And what happens if he hits a home run, big monstrous home run, and then the hamstring tears or something crazy happens at the end of that game and he's gone? Big home run, they win the game, they win the series, but he's no longer available for the rest of the postseason. Was it worth it?
It's unfortunate, but
was it worth it though?
Like you said yesterday, this Brewers team can win without a Jackson Chourio, and it's unfortunate.
Right.
And yes, it's
based
worth
on this lineup,
worth it to continue to keep that playoff push going. Yes.
Right. And based on this lineup, they're not trying to win anyhow. So you could have given Jackson Chourio the day off, let Isaac Collins play, and been done with it. Because we haven't even got to the worst part of this lineup yet. So just hang in there. We're going to get to the worst part of the lineup.
How many times have you been burned this season by saying this lineup is awful and they still end up going to win games? Like this Brewers
that's good.
Team
but you know what I'm not going to do?
They're putting lineups out there that want to win baseball games, and it works
Charlie,
still.
You know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to be blindly loyal and worship the feet of Pat Murphy and go, I'm never going to question anything he does. He's perfect. Because you know what? He ain't perfect. There ain't nothing perfect about the man. And he's made mistakes throughout the year without question. And this Jackson Chourio deal is one that I really hope doesn't come back and bite him and the medical staff in the behind because they're trying to win this series as quickly as possible. Either way, let's move on. Bryce Trang is 3. Fine, don't care. Contreras is 4. Again, fine. Frelick is 5. Fine. I'm good with Frelick being 5. Here is where the questions lie. Here's where the questions lie. When Caleb Durbin, oh, look, Mitch Nellis. Hi, Mitch Nellis. Hi there. You're on YouTube, buddy. He's got a purple sweatshirt on, of course. Sorry, I got distracted by our YouTube. Search us, the Fan Milwaukee on YouTube, and you will be able to see me waving at Mitch Nellis as he popped onto our camera. So Durbin is 6. This was the first red flag as I'm reading through this lineup slowly, right? I'm going name by name by name. If Durbin is 6, that means there's not much behind Caleb Durbin. Andrew Vaughn is 3 for 9 against Jamison Tyon. Jake Bowers is in this lineup at first base. They're trying to win, remember? He's 1 for 9 against him. 1 for 9. So you played, if we're basing on splits, you played a worse player against this pitcher and put him into the bottom of this lineup. Then you get Lockridge in center field. If he wasn't on this playoff roster, would anybody have complained? No. The fact that he is on this playoff roster, I thought, completely wrong. I didn't realize Murphy planned on starting him in the playoffs. I thought he was on this playoff roster to be a pinch runner, be a guy at the end of the game. If something happens to somebody, to go in there and be a defensive replacement, like a Chourio. Ooh, I felt something. Go out there and go play some defense, Mr. Lockridge, right? Did not see him starting. So that's a little bit concerning. And then Joey Ortiz, who, again, last game actually had a hit or two. So that's good. Maybe he turns it around. But I'm sorry, man. Like, if you're going to take this lineup and tell me that, oh, yeah, we're all in, we're definitely trying to win, then A, I don't believe you. But B, if that is the case, and you're going to tell me, well, okay, maybe we're not completely trying to win one way or the other. We're trying to get some guys some playing time here so they're fresh, they're sharp as we get farther into the postseason. Cool. Then why is Churio playing hurt? And why isn't Isaac Collins in the lineup then? If that's what today is just to get everybody some reps, right? We're fine playing game 4 in Chicago tomorrow. We're fine. We're good. We know we're going to win this series. We're not losing 3 straight to the Cubs. We're fine, Sparky. Chill out. Don't worry about it. Okay. Then I'm just asking for you to be consistent then and give the guy who's hurt some rest so he doesn't get further hurt, and let Isaac Collins, who's been horrible since he had that kid, get some at-bats here in a postseason, and maybe he gets some confidence, gets a couple of hits here going forward. That's all I'm saying, Charlie. I'm not saying they can't win with this lineup. It just doesn't feel very consistent as far as what the heck they're trying to do here. Like, there's nothing consistent about this lineup.
But I don't know if that's the whole story on what they're trying to do here. I don't know if this is just giving guys rest. When looking at Jameson Taillon's numbers with stolen bases this season, he's given up 23 stolen bases and only 2 caught stealings during his time pitching. So he has a 92% stolen base success rate against him. Carson Kelly has 4 pass balls on him in the regular season so far.
Didn't Carson Kelly catch the last game?
Mm-hmm. And Mm-hmm. And he only has 23 total caught stealings on 67 total attempts on the season. I think putting in a guy like Brandon Lockridge into this lineup, I think putting in a guy like Jake Bowers in this lineup gives you a lot more of base threat with those guys than a Blake Perkins or an Andrew Vaughn in this situation. And what we saw in the last 2 games is that with more threats on base, guys like Dansby Swanson, guys like Nico Horner, who you usually don't make defensive mistakes, have gone on and made defensive mistakes in big games and big pressure moments. And these guys, I think, when they're on base, put more pressure on the defense and put more pressure on the pitcher and the catcher than maybe an Andrew Vaughn or Blake Perkins does. And I know those guys are probably the safer options, and that, yes, there is probably some truth to what you're saying about wanting to see a Lockridge, wanting to see what a Caleb Durbin, any of these guys can do. But the fact that they're in that lineup tells me that they want to put pressure on the pitching and the catching of the Chicago Cubs, which I think is a really good decision by Pat Murphy.
Yes, Charlie, using C. Sparky Fifer with you here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live at Natty Oaks. Again, we're National Meets Oklahoma here in West Allis. It is amazing food. Had the Philly cheesesteak earlier. That was absolutely delicious. Josh Albrecht will be out here for the watch party. Tommy Wirtz is hanging out already, getting ready for his leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook from 3 to 4 o'clock. Brandon Snide is in the house from 9 to noon. With John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. He's hanging out. Come meet the Peacock. Jack Pembroke, he's hanging out with both of them. If you want your picture taken with Peacock, you can do that as well. And, of course, don't forget the Euchre Magic fan T-shirts. You can come out here and get while supplies last out here at Natty Oaks. Coming up next, we will check in with MLB insider John Heyman. Straight ahead, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Sports Daily served up by Wendy's, live from Natty Oaks here in West Allis, where National meets Oklahoma. Coming up at 3 o'clock. It's the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Tommy Wirtz, the big old hunk of love, is out here having some lunch, getting ready for the show coming up. That'll be going on from 3 until 4. And then we'll continue on with Wisconsin Sports Daily from 4 to 5 while the baseball game is going on to talk more about said baseball game and the MLB playoffs. He is John Heyman, MLB Insider. John, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, Sparky. How are you?
I'm good. I've talked about this whole idea of, if the Brewers were somehow able to win this thing and win the World Series, and as good as it would be for Milwaukee, and it would be monumental, obviously, the parade and all the partying that would happen would be amazing. But do you think it could be to a level, I don't know if I want to call it Golden State Warriors, where now everybody chunks 53s a game because of what the Warriors did back there earlier, but could it get executives and so forth, thinking twice about how to build rosters if the Brewers' way of doing things actually succeeds?
Well, we'll see. I mean, they're one of a few small market teams who've been spectacular this year. They're the best example of it, perhaps, but there have been other small market teams that are doing very well. I mean, I don't know how you replicate it. I think a lot of people have watched Tampa for years and try to replicate that, and it's not so easy. So, I mean, I give them credit. First and foremost, they've done a fantastic job. They hired a great manager who should be manager of the year again, and motivates like very few others. And they just do a terrific job. But they're underrated in terms of the talent that they've gotten. Obviously, these guys are great players. Yelich and Turang and Churio, Contreras. I mean, these are 4 stars at least that they have on this team. Frelick also. So it's a highly underrated team. I think people overlook it maybe because it's Milwaukee and because they've had so many problems in the playoffs in the past. This team could really do it. I'm not going to be shocked if there's a parade down Wisconsin Avenue or wherever they put it.
Yeah, Wisconsin Avenue would be good. Maybe you end it at Summerfest grounds or, I don't know, something along those lines for even a bigger party at that point. But, John, the other thing about this, too, with this Brewers team is that game 2 where they come out and they pitch that bullpen game. This is a team essentially coming off of a bye where they're rested for like 5 days because they don't have to play in that wild card round. So it wasn't a deal where, guys were tired or there was injuries or something like that. I would imagine that probably shocked the baseball world pretty good, including the trader Craig Counsell, who definitely was surprised during his in-game interview that he was having to deal with a bullpen game from the Brewers in game 2.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams use that bullpen game. The Dodgers used 4 bullpen games en route to a World Series victory last year. So it has been very effective. I'm going to see one tonight at Yankee Stadium. The Blue Jays have little choice, but use a bullpen game unless they want to come back Gausman on the short rest, which they are not going to do. I'm kind of old school. I don't love the bullpen game, but if you use it effectively and it doesn't affect the pitchers, I'm all for it. My theory in that is, one guy has a bad day that could throw everything off. And the Brewers, nobody seems to have a bad day with the Brewers. So it's been an amazing run, really has.
Talking with John Heyman, MLB Insider, of course, for MLB Network. You can also read all of his great stuff at the New York Post. To John, when we talk about the Brewers and what this game looks like coming up here, game 3, Jamison Taillon going for the Cubs. I think he's kind of been hit or miss a little bit. But then you have got Quinn Priester, a guy that if Brandon Woodruff is hurt and isn't hurt, he's probably number 3 in this rotation going into this postseason instead of Quintana being number 3. But he has to be one of the biggest surprises of the MLB season to this point. And now from getting traded to Milwaukee, struggling early in April, to now pitching an NLDS game is quite a remarkable story.
Priester, yeah. I mean, that was a great pickup. I mean, they won almost every game that he pitched, right? So, I mean, can't go wrong there. They made 2 great pickups, too, right? One was a guy who was basically a discard with the White Sox, number 3 overall pick behind Bobby Wood Jr. at number 2. And, one of many mistakes that the White Sox seem to make, but maybe not. Hold on there. Look at the guy can play. The guy's hit home runs for the Brewers. And I don't know what it is that they do, but they somehow find these gems for, I would say free, but for very bargain prices. The Red Sox did so many great things this year themselves, but the Priester deal was not a good one. It's amazing. They really have done a terrific job organization-wide with the Brewers.
You're obviously the insider, so you know all. I don't know all. David Stearns was here for quite a while after they got him from the Astros. He goes to the Mets. That was a disaster of a season. But he leaves for his dream job of the New York Mets. Matt Arnold has been here with David Stearns the entire time. Now he gets his chance to run this thing the last couple of years. From a Brewers fan perspective, I'm hoping your answer is no. I don't know of any dream job, but is there something out there where, from a Brewers fan perspective, it's like, okay, well, Matt Arnold's here now, but will he be here tomorrow? Is there anything looming? Because that New York thing was always kind of hanging over, I think, Brewers fans, knowing that Stearns probably wanted to get back to New York at some point.
Right. Well, Stearns is a New Yorker, so that wasn't shocking. It was almost a long time running. Right. It was like 2 years in the works. It felt like, and everybody understood that. Steve Cohen wanted to hire David Stearns, and he did do that when the time came. No, I have not heard. I mean, obviously, Colorado is remaking things. I don't know that Matt Arnold has any particular hankering to go to Colorado, or that they're going to pay like Steve Cohen pays, which I doubt. So no, I think you're safe there. I think you're okay with Arnold for a while, and it seems like managers don't change teams very much, so you're probably safe with Murphy too, right? Somehow they've worked it out, so teams don't kind of pilfer one manager or the next over. Not when he's employed by one team, they don't seem to steal him away. And other than we saw with Counsell let his contract run out and then left for Chicago, that was a very, very rare case. But I would like to hold. I think. You're in Milwaukee, you certainly want to hold on to both guys, but I mean, to me, Murphy's the best at what he does right now.
So when the Ricketts family decides to pay Craig Counsell, the trader, $8 million, John Heyman, what then were expectations at that point? Were expectations to do what he did in Milwaukee, which is get the Cubs to the postseason on a regular basis at $8 million a year? Or is the expectation for $8 million a year, you better win a World Series in X amount of years if we're paying you that much money?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. They certainly expected improvement. The first year there was none. This year there was. So I think overall they're probably okay with it. It's not the Yankees. They don't consider it a failure if they don't win the World Series. Otherwise, every year, for the last 100 years, except for one, was an utter failure with the Cubs. So I think their standards aren't quite that high, but certainly expected improvement. And, I think that they've generally gotten some improvement. They certainly improved their roster, though. So, I don't know if they think it was money well spent or not. As you know, he's not even the highest paid manager anymore. He did help, certainly Dave Roberts get a similar deal for like $1 more or something like that.
Obviously, I have vested interest as a Brewers fan to know what the situation is with Kyle Tucker and the chances there are of him re-signing back with Chicago. Obviously, as a Brewers fan, I don't want him back with the Cubs organization, especially knowing that they gave up what they gave up to get him, and to have him walk after 1 year, to me, isn't necessarily a great look for the Chicago Cubs. I saw somebody else say last night that their belief is that Kyle Tucker is definitely not coming back with the Cubs, regardless of what happens the rest of the way as far as how he plays or doesn't play. What are your thoughts on Kyle Tucker and what may be in his future?
Yeah, I don't want to say definitely, but it certainly doesn't feel like they'd bring him back, considering an all-around player like that is probably going to get somewhere around $400 million. And it does feel like certain guys have had bigger hits this year, whether it be Suzuki or Bush or whomever. He played well. He's a good defender. He had that injury excuse, which I think was a fair excuse. He's going to get a huge deal. The Cubs don't really pay that kind of money. I don't know what their chances were at the beginning, but at this point, I would say that the Dodgers, the Giants, even the Mets, teams are much more likely to shell out certainly $300 million plus for Kyle Tucker than the Cubs. I would put it on the unlikely category at this point.
Good. That makes me happy. Thanks, John. MLB Network insider, of course, also covers the Yankees and the Mets as well. Follow him on Twitter at John Heyman. And I do want to talk a little bit about the postseason around other places. Obviously, working for the New York Post, you're going to talk about the Yankees and what's going on there. But want to say in the NL first, Phillies, Dodgers. I think a lot of people had the Phillies making a run and winning this thing coming out of the National League. And right now, that Dodgers team looks like they probably are the team to beat in baseball, even though, the Brewers are the 1 overall seed. I get it. They just look really strong to me.
Boy, they have like 7 great starters. They're using 2 or 3 of them in the pen right now, but you've got Ohtani, Yamamoto, Snell to start things off, and then you've got 4 other guys who are also very good pitchers. They seem to have an advantage over everyone. Their bullpen is a mess, which is why they're using 2 or 3 of those guys in the bullpen. Part of the reason why they're using 2 or 3 of them in the bullpen in key roles. They do seem to be the favorite at this moment. I think when this started, I saw some sites that suggested the Phillies were the favorite. I assume that was probably because the Dodgers had to go through that first round, and you never know. I mean, you would think they were going to beat Cincinnati, and they did rather handily, but it is an extra round, and I guess mathematically speaking, their chances were less than the Phillies. But at this point, I would say they're probably the favorite. But boy, Milwaukee's playing so well. I think they're probably a close second choice. And I know a lot of people were saying that whoever wins Dodgers-Phillies is the likely World Series winner. Now I'm saying, assuming the Dodgers get past the Phillies, and again, no guarantees, but they only have to win 1 out of 3 games. And they end up playing the Brewers. Again, no guarantee, but it certainly looks really good for the Brewers right now, the way they're playing. I'd say that the winner of that series is more likely the World Series winner at this point. Those are the best teams.
One last question, John Heyman. Who's your pick in the AL as we sit today?
Wow. Well, I kind of think it might be Seattle. They've been playing the best, it seems. Nobody's great in the American League. It really isn't. I thought the National League was better all year, but the National League depth didn't really pan out. You had Colorado obviously losing, 1 million games, and you had somebody make the playoffs with, 83 or 84 wins. And so, I can't say top to bottom the National League was better, but at the top, the National League is better, I do believe. But in the American League, they're all good but flawed teams. I think Seattle or the Yankees was the pick to begin with, but right now the Yankees are down 2 games to 1. So I'd have to go with Seattle.
Yes, John Heyman. Follow him on Twitter at John Heyman, New York Post, MLB Network Insider as well. John, as always, appreciate you coming on. And, man, we are a far cry from you and I talking about the Ned Yost days. And I really appreciate that you and I both lasted this long to see it. John, enjoy the rest of your night, buddy.
All right, Sparky. Always a pleasure. Thanks a lot.
You betcha. Take care. There he is, John Heyman, joining us here on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. 1 call, that's all. Yeah, back in the day, I used to yell and scream at John Heyman about Ned Yost, and he took a lot of abuse from me back in the day about Ned. He tried to defend him, I just yell and scream.
Not
surprising. I would yell at somebody?
Yeah, exactly. Get in arguments about people. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Ned and I, that was not a good conversation piece. Okay, so that was our guy John Heyman. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL games all season long, kicking off with the juicy Week 6 matchup between the Bengals and the Packers. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. Coming up on the other side, I want to talk about really what is the importance we're placing on this game today, right? You're up 2-0. If you lose today, you play tomorrow. If you lose today and you lose tomorrow, you come back and you play Game 5 here in Milwaukee on Saturday. So really, in the grand scheme of things, if they were to lose this game, is it really that big of a deal at the end of the day? Is this really a must-win situation? Knowing what the lineup is, knowing the situation that the Brewers are walking into. I haven't seen the forecast, but coming in today, they said the wind was probably going to be blowing in at Wrigley Field. So if that's the case, that should play to the Brewers' benefit as well. You have the guy that goes deeper into games than anybody else, and Quinn Priester pitching for the Brewers today. So the pitching matchup should go to the Brewers. It feels like this still should be a game the Brewers win, regardless of how mad I may be about the lineup. This still feels like a game they should win. But is it a big deal if this thing somehow or another goes sideways and it doesn't happen? We'll discuss that coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook out here at Natty Oaks, baby, right where National meets Oklahoma in West Allis. Come down, have some great food, some great drinks. We got everybody and their mama here from the Fan, Mitch Thunder Nellis, Tommy Words. They are the ones making all the noise out here. Jack Pembroke, Peacock, Brandon Snide is out here as well. And Josh Albrecht, he's really the star of everybody that's out here. He'll be hanging out here with you. Come party with Josh Albrecht, watch the game. We have our Euchre Magic t-shirts that you can get your hands on as well. Wild supplies last here on The Fan. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Sparky Fifer with you live at Natty Oaks, baby, out here in West Allis, where National meets Oklahoma. Come hang out. The food is absolutely delicious. Have me yourself a Philly cheesesteak, had some fries, had a chocolate chip cookie.
There he goes bragging about all the food he's eating without me again, as usual. Classic Sparky. Mm-hmm.
I'm not the only one now, man. I mean,
I know
Thunder's out here eating, Tommy's out here eating, Josh Albrecht's eating, Brandon Snide's eating, Peacock ate already. Like, they're all eating but you.
I'll go eat like the 2 Oreos that are left on my desk that somebody left there like a week ago. That's fine. Whatever. Sure.
Ooh, sorry. Oh, Tommy left you 2 Oreos, Thunder said. That was Tommy, your boy, Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy's the only person that looks out for me. That's fine. That's cool.
That may be true. Yeah, I mean, you and Tommy definitely look out for each other. You two, you guys are connected, which I like very much. Okay, so out here at Natty Oaks, come out, say hi. Great watch party out here, hosted by Josh Albrecht and the fine folks out here at the Fan. Watch the game. Euchre Magic T-shirts are flowing right now. People are getting them on and wearing them and watching the game tonight. So make sure to take advantage of that. Coming up at 3 o'clock, it'll be the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We'll hear from Pat Murphy from before the game. Get you the lineups of both baseball teams. Plus, we'll hear from Andrew Wagner, Forbes Sports Brewers writer, Austin Herdenia from the Potawatomi Sportsbook to give you a winning play coming up for tonight's game. That comes up from 3 until 4 o'clock. Then Wisconsin Sports Daily right back on the air here at 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, served up by Wendy's. We'll talk some Badger football. We'll also talk some Admirals hockey. With John Greenberg coming up at around 4:45. So stay tuned for that. In the 4 o'clock hour, we'll also hear from Matt LaFleur of the Green Bay Packers, who spoke a little bit earlier today. All right, Charlie. So the question that I had before the break, and we'll talk about it now, is how big of a game really is this for the Brewers? You can dial it up on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and text line as well, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. You can also use social media, Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee, or sound off and record a voice message as well on your Odyssey app, or leave a comment in the dugout right there on the YouTube chat as well. Search The Fan Milwaukee there too. How big of a game is this? How important is this? If they don't win this game and somehow they lose this game, which again seems a little crazy if we're being honest, of that actually happening, even though this lineup may not be their best lineup. How crazy of a deal is it? You know, is it time for people to lose their minds because they lose one game in this series? Charlie, what say you? Now, again, you're Chicago Charlie, obviously, right? So you're a Cub fan and Brewer fan, which is very weird to say, but that's where we're at right now. What say you?
I would say that this game probably isn't the most important to win today. At the same time, it would feel real good as a Brewers fan from that perspective to go out there and sweep Craig Counsell and go out there and sweep the Chicago Cubs and make it a real kind of rivalry in Chicago's minds and maybe make this something bigger in the future for both these two young teams that are growing. And I think this would just send a really good message to the city of Milwaukee and the fan base of this Milwaukee Brewers team that wants to see this team win a championship. And they have it all there. Sweeping the Cubs in the NLDS is a good way to get started to show that you have it all there.
Yeah, I don't disagree. That's a good way to get started. I just look at this personally as not as big of a deal. If this goes sideways and they lose this game 3-2, or the Cubs have some big dramatic deal that happens at some point in this game to change this game, and the Brewers come up on the losing end, I don't think there's any reason to freak out after the game. I don't think there's any reason to freak out tomorrow as well. I think the best way to look at it is, okay, fine, you lost the game. Fine, you're not going to sweep them. It's not end of the world stuff. What you do want to make sure that doesn't happen is you want to make sure that you get through this game unscathed, right? That you get through this game and there's no further injuries. Nobody's going to miss the rest of the series or miss the next game, and make sure you are in the right state of mind going into Game 4 tomorrow at Wrigley Field. Remember, Game 4 tomorrow at Wrigley Field is an 8 o'clock start tomorrow night. That is going to be a late game. There is no roof on Wrigley Field, so it is going to be a cold game as well, Charlie. And I go right back to Jackson Cherry on that hamstring again. As far as playing in colder weather, probably not the best thing for Jackson Cherry to be playing in if they get into that situation.
Maybe, but also from my experience playing in colder weather in football, you numb yourself pretty easily to a lot of those injuries or those hurts that you have before. If it is colder out, you're moving around a lot, you get warmed up a lot better. I don't know. It just feels like that in a situation like this, if he's going to be on the field, again, you called it kissing Pat Murphy's boots before, but I just trust him as a manager at this point. He's a guy who's going to win his second manager of the year in a row, which is something only 2 other managers all of baseball have ever done in the history of the game. And now he's made a lot of great decisions that have led to big wins over the course of the second half of the season, going into the first 2 games of this postseason. I feel like if he thinks Jackson Chourio is ready to go out there, then Jackson Chourio is ready to go out there.
And we'll find out how this all goes. I'm not as into playing Jackson Chourio in these games to protect his hamstring. I want him available and ready to go for the NLCS. And you can say, well, you're being overconfident that you think this team is going to get to the NLCS, Sparky. I don't feel like I'm being overconfident at this point. I just don't think the Cubs are necessarily capable of beating this team 3 straight games at the end of the day. Would I like this series to be over as soon as possible? I would. I would like this series to be over as soon as possible. I would like them, throw up 5 or 6 runs right away here
Throw up
in
another
the first
7.
couple of innings.
Why not?
What?
Throw up another 7 runs right away in the first 4 or 5 innings. Make it
Yeah,
easy.
that'd be great.
End it right away. Just put it away.
That'd be great. Yes, I would be all for them doing that and scoring a bunch of runs early. Now, I will say this, and we'll see if you agree with me on this or not. If they were to get out to a 6 or 7 run lead, then do you go get Jackson Chourio and sit him then for the rest of the game once you get to, say, the 6th or 7th inning and you feel confident that this bullpen is in a good situation to hold this team down the rest of the way? Or do you continue to leave him out there for the rest of the game? It would be kind of equivalent to pulling a quarterback at some point in the 4th quarter.
I think so. I think that is a good moment where I would give Jackson Chourio that rest. But until it's finished, you got to leave him out there. And I think in the 6th or 7th inning, if you're up by 5 to 7 runs, that's a pretty safe point to be in. And I think that no matter what, even if the Cubs were to come back in a situation like that, the guys that you would put in to replace a Jackson Chourio and Isaac Collins in that situation, or a Blake Perkins, can fill in well enough in those situations.
The other part about this, too, when we talk about this Brewers team getting ready to take on the Cubs here at Wrigley Field, is that fan base that's going to be down there from Milwaukee. They sold out 300 people on that Hiawatha train that went down there this morning. Everybody got on board at 8 o'clock this morning and went down there. Now, is 300 people going to make a dent in that crowd? No, probably not going to make a dent in the crowd. So there's going to have to be a lot of other people. The question is, will that crowd down there today at Wrigley be as pro-Brewers as maybe it was for the Cubs up here at American Family Field? Now, from a Brewer fan perspective, that was beautiful. I was very, very happy with what that looked like earlier today, or I should say over the weekend, as far as I don't know what the percentage would be, 10% maybe, 5 to 10% Cub fans, nowhere near like we've seen it in years past. Could the Brewers even get to that level with the amount of Brewer fans that are going to be at Wrigley Field, Charlie?
I don't know about that. It's probably going to be a little bit more expensive to go see games in Wrigley and just in that sense. So that's something that's going to deter people. I think that just the weight of getting down there, it's a lot easier to park at AmFam Field. It's a lot easier to find somewhere on a street up here to go walk to that game than it is down there. I think there's going to be a lot of factors that are going to make it very much blue and red in that crowd, more so than even the blue and gold that we saw in the crowd in Milwaukee. And there was a really good showing of Brewers fans in Milwaukee. I just don't think, because of the geographical limits, that they can match that in Chicago.
MJ, Southside, you're next on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line. What's up, MJ? How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you for taking my call. So I'm thinking, look, this is not like a crucial game. So if they lose it, I'm not, going to go into despair. But I think this is a one series at this point. But what I'd like is to wrap it up as quickly as possible, because it looks like the Dodgers are going to do the same on the other side. So I'd like them to get as much rest as possible to get this thing over with and focus on the next series. Because whether it is the Dodgers or the Phillies, and I really hope that the Phillies can pull out some games here and make it a series that's competitive, it's going to be a tough matchup for the Brewers either way. So I do think that the Brewers have the capability to win the series, whether it's the Phillies or the Dodgers, honestly. I really think they've got it. They got the juice. But, they do need every advantage that they can get. So that's my thoughts. Thanks, man.
All right, man. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. This is this is the thing that I was thinking about when he was talking. Obviously, you want to get it done as soon as possible because if the Dodgers are going to be done early, you want to be done early, right? You want to have kind of the same amount of rest going forward here as they're going to have. I think the other reason you want to be done early is to make them rest Jackson Churchill, if we're being honest. Since they don't want to do it themselves, that way you force them to give Jackson Churchill 3 days of rest prior to the LCS starting on Monday. You give them Thursday off, you give them Friday off, you give them Saturday off, actually Sunday off, so 4 days of rest before this whole thing gets back underway on Monday. And thankfully, Monday is back at American Family Field where weather conditions can kind of be managed a little bit better than, say, at Wrigley Field at night under the lights.
It's going to be nice to not only give Jackson Churchill a rest, but it's going to be nice to give Christian Yelich a rest. It's going to be nice to give a William Contreras a rest for a little bit. Some of the pitching staff that's been injured or banged up a little bit here, it'll be nice to give them a rest if you can go and finish this game right here. And what would be nice is what MJ was saying is if Philadelphia can make that a series on the other side and take it to 5 games, take it to at least 4 games to tire out Los Angeles just a little bit more than you are tired.
Yeah, I think that is fair. On the talk to text line earlier, Bear in Beaver Dam. Sparky, who leads off for the Dodgers? I'll hang up and listen because it just blows your take out of the water when you answer the question. Let's see. Now it breaks up and I can't find it. I think that's it. When you answer the question, it doesn't matter to me that Ohtani leads off for the Los Angeles Dodgers. I could care less if Ohtani leads off the Los Angeles Dodgers. Listen, you do not have the Los Angeles Dodgers team out here right now. You have the Milwaukee Brewers team. Your manager has told you all year they're not that good and they're essentially playing over their heads. So from that perspective, then manage it like that way, right? Take your best players and put them in the middle of the lineup like most teams do around Major League Baseball. Yes, you may have outliers that play, first ballot Hall of Famer, maybe the best guy we've ever seen play in our lifetime in Shohei Ohtani leadoff. That's fine. That's not real, though. I mean, that's just not real compared to everybody else. The rest of Major League Baseball is not having their best player necessarily at the top of the lineup. That's not what's happening. So that's just something else to consider kind of going forward here. I'm not going to get off my take as far as I want him in the middle of the lineup with an opportunity to drive runs in and do something. That's not going to change my mind. Coming up next, our guy, Tommy Wirtz, other side of the glass, is Charlie Usen. He'll be producing the leadoff show as well, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook out here at Natty Oaks on National Avenue in West Allis. And I'm looking forward to hearing Tommy's take on Pat Murphy, his take on the starting lineup today. We'll hear from Andrew Wagner, Austin Herdini from the Potawatomi Sportsbook, all coming up next here on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily wrapping up for this hour.